What's up there, guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Titus AB, and of course this is a new studio setup. Recently we moved as a family to another house where we were staying, and now this is a whole place. So this is kind of a home studio for me, and it's something that works, and I've been using it for quite a few days right now. And so yeah, so this is the first video in this studio. It's an awesome place. The lights are everywhere, everything is just so awesome. I'm able to now use the headlights, I'm able to use the field lights, I'm able to use the backlights with different colors to make everything look really nice. And today I'm going to be talking about something which relates to this whole cinematography and creative industry thing. I'm going to be talking about photography. In this video, I'm going to tell you about how I have been a photographer for a while and what I've been able to learn as a photographer for the short time that I have been a photographer. So stay tuned. Lately in my life, I've become really very interested in the arts, which has to do with cinematography, creating, and creativity. For the most part of my life, I've been a science student, which means that I don't really get to do a lot of creation. I just get to study what has already been created and try to modify it. But recently, I got so interested in the arts, and one particular art that I found very fascinating was cinematography, right? So that was photos and videos. So after some time, I was able to have my first camera, which I've been using on this channel for quite a while. It is not very professional photo shoot camera or photography camera, but I've been using it for that particular purpose, and it has been really serving me well. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is why I decided to start photography. The first reason that I decided to start photography was because I was foremost fascinated by the work of most famous photographers around, and each time I would pick up a photo and look at it, I would literally gasp in awe and be like, wow, this is wonderful. How can someone really create such a beautiful image, place it on a viewing pad where someone can really enjoy it? And after seeing so many images from different photographers, I became so obsessed with the whole thing, such that I even started shooting with my phone when I had not had the camera. I started shooting with my phone, and I joined a platform of photographers from Cameroon, because I'm a Cameroonian, if you didn't know that. I'm sure I've said that many times on the channel. When I joined that platform, I got a lot of experience, I got a lot of teaching, I got a lot of lessons, which were usually for free. That really went to fuel more of my passion for the whole art, because it is a very extensive thing. And that was the first reason why I started doing photography, because I enjoyed the work of other photographers. Now the second reason why I started doing photography was because, of course, it is lucrative, right? So if you're able to take good shots of people, or take good shots of products, product photography, or character photography, then you're able to make some sort of gain out of that, and the whole process is kind of lucrative. So it supports me, or kind of supported me, something like that. I mean, you get it. So that was the second reason why I joined, and those are the two main reasons why I started doing photography, and been really digging into it with the whole photo editing, creating process. I've been really digging into that. The second thing I'm going to tell you is what I have learned being a photographer for a very short period of time. Like I said, I've not been a photographer for a long time, right? I've been a photographer for a very short period of time, about 6 months counting, which is really short to me, because I think I'm learning a lot, and I'm learning quite fast, and that whole period of time seems like it's quite very short period of time. And the first thing that I've learned being a photographer is that creativity is not something that everybody owns. Creativity is not something that everybody has. As a photographer, I've been able to see the work of other photographers. I've been able to interact and kind of go into the concepts of other photographers, and somehow they just sometimes don't give up that creative vibe that you think that will be giving off. You don't feel that creative vibe, and creating, somehow it could be a draining process. So that's the second thing that I've learned. Creation could be a draining process. It takes a lot of thinking, it takes a lot of mind, uses a lot of mind space, and at the end of production, you have to go now to post-production, where you're editing all the images and giving them a particular look that you want them to really have. The whole process is very tedious and it's very consuming. So those are the two main things that I've learned being a photographer. First thing is that creativity is not universal. Creativity is not available to everybody, which it could be frustrating sometimes. And then the second thing is that the creative process is a draining one. So at the end of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how doing the creative process is for those of you who want to consider going into photography. Now, some of the challenges that I've encountered being a photographer mostly relate to the sets, right? The sets, having a particular set able to shoot an image in, and having creating the scene for which you want that image to have a particular feel. I've not had very many customers, so mostly I do shooting for myself and for my family, and it's sometimes very difficult or frustrating to be able to create that particular set. Indoor photography is a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing, really very complicated, and so that is a major challenge that I've had doing photography. And then sometimes the process of editing or the post-production process, which is very lengthy, can be very frustrating. It can be very frustrating, especially when your computer is not very good, especially when you don't have the top quality specs on your computer. Your editing process could be very frustrating onto you, and that's something that I have to deal with a bit for a while. And I think things are gradually getting better because, you know, upgrades and all that. So yes, that is a major challenge that I face being a photographer. The second challenge that I also face being a photographer is that sometimes people don't take the whole creative thing seriously. They don't take the whole creative thing seriously. It is very tempting to, you know, work with clients who think they want you to shoot in a particular way, they want you to produce images in a particular way, and usually it's not that easy to produce that particular image, and sometimes they kind of downgrade that work and that whole creative process, which is very painful, you know, to go into work, to put in your energy, to put in your drive, and you know, someone wants a particular thing, and if that thing is not achieved or if that goal is not achieved, then it becomes a problem. Of course, customer is king, we know that, but sometimes it's just frustrating. Alright, so I'm going to put some of my best shots right now. The shots that I've been taking, these are the best ones. Okay, for those of you who want to go into photography, those of you who are considering to start photography, the best photographer that I know so far is Peter McKinnon, and he's based in Canada. That's one of the greatest photographers. He is the best when it comes to handling the gear. He's the best when it comes to doing the after production or post production. He's the best when it comes to generally bringing up concepts that will be enjoyable to look at on a photo. And I've been, you know, watching tons of his videos and learning a lot from him. So if you want to start as a photographer, go ahead and subscribe to his channel, check it out. I'm not going to link it in the description, so you might go have to find out yourself. Peter McKinnon, that's easy. And yeah, subscribe to his channel. And then one thing that you should also know as a photography is the gear that you have, or the equipment that you have is not very it's not going to determine your output. Of course, it's going to determine what you're going to produce to a certain extent, but instead of focusing on having better cameras or having better computers or having better editing software or whatnot, instead focus on upgrading your skills. Know how to maybe create a scene, know how to, if it's indoor shooting, maybe set up a backdrop, know how to handle the camera, the one that you have, of course. Know how to play with your lighting and with your whole equipment that you have around you to obtain the shots that you want, because sometimes you're not going to have the very best equipment, but you're going to have to know how to use that equipment that you have to the best of its potential. And when you're able to do that, then there's a very high chance that you will be a very good photographer. Yeah, that's for sure. So if you're interested in photography, go ahead and leave me an email. My email is in the description box below. Leave me an email, and I'm going to reach back to you probably with some advice if I can grab some of that and document it. And you can also reach out to me if you're already a photographer and you want maybe for me to experience or see some of the work that you've done. Then also leave me an email, and I'm going to probably check it out if I make up time for that. Anyway, so that's it for today's video. I'm glad that you joined me to talk about this particular hobby obsession kind of mine. And I hope that you have learned something and you're able to apply it in your day-to-day life, if not directly in photography, at least in other aspects of life, because knowledge is always very useful. You can always recycle it and make it very applicable in almost every situation. So thank you for spending a few minutes with me today. Have a very wonderful day, and peace. What the hell is this? Okay, I'm out.